Last year, I think Richard III's it was like a piece of black performance art, really, very dark, gothic. This is more direct and raw. This is like raw meat. That was a bit like a Goya painting. This is more, what you see is what you get. We're making it up as we go along. There's a roughness to it, which suits the kind of lads going to war idea.
We've tried to, in Henry, include you, the audience, all the time. So we make you the English court, or we make you the French court, or the English soldiers or the French soldiers. Because Shakespeare writes so empathetically for both sides of any argument, it really helps you follow the story and the twists and turns if we can, as far as possible, draw you in. We first did Henry V in 1997. It was a one-off 9-week job. And Ed Hall had no idea he was founding a company that would end up, coming to internationally acclaimed arts festivals like this one. It was just an idea for a production of Henry, and he's never done it again since then, since that one 9-week job. And he really wanted to come back to it now we're a really well-established company and work through it again.
There is this element of, we're dressed in these kind of modern combats that don't look dissimilar to the Brits in Iraq. There is that resonance going on, and we do sort of push in the second half the cost of war, and it starts to become a much more visceral and moving experience, I think, in the second half. And we've left the question open as to whether it's heroics or blood and pointless death. It's an ambiguous play, I think, and nowadays, however you play it, you're going to get this ambiguous reaction, I think. We did BMF, British Military Fitness, which involves some guys from the army, but they basically force you to do sit-ups, burpees, and run about 5 miles around this Clapham Common in London, and at the end of it, you're shattered or you puke up, you do what you can to survive. And they did that for three times a week for 5 weeks.
We always try and show and tell in our shows. So if a character talks about some people going off and being murdered, we don't kill them off stage, we kill them on stage. And if a character says he's seeing people laughing at him in his mind, he doesn't just tell you that, you see them laughing at him. And that kind of, Henry first set the tone for the way we work. And Winter's Tale is particularly apt for, because there are two such completely different realms that we almost make our own chorus for each country. So we have a Sicilian chorus and a Bohemian chorus. We make them as different from each other as possible, but still out of that feel of those two choruses comes the story.
It's like a magic fairy tale, so it's slightly more sophisticated, I'd say, than Henry, which is a more raw approach. Winter's Tale's it got a game of two halves, which I think Chris has mentioned, that it's very austere and quite conventional in its setting in the first half. Like, we're in suits, it's played very much as a piece of naturalistic indoor theatre, and then the second half it bursts at the seams and does the opposite of that.
We've really pushed the differences, I think, between Bohemia, the kind of bucolic happiness of Bohemia, and then the really restricted, suited and booted court world of Sicilia.
When I went to create the part of the ageing rock god, he's called Autolycus in Winter's Tale, and he's basically a robber and a thief, but I wanted to upgrade it because we were setting it in the Glastonbury type festival. It's like someone who's accidentally rocked up in Glastonbury, who's probably lived there all his life and would want to be a rock god but doesn't quite make the grade. And I based it on the Ozzy Osbourne MTV videos. So it's that idea of someone that they've had such a crazed and dissolute lifestyle that they can't avoid appearing that way even when they're clean.
In The Winter's Tale, Leontes talks to you a lot as the audience, and is, as far as possible, we're trying to make you understand his jealousy and where it's coming from, and possibly to wonder whether, is Leontes right or is it his court who's right?